Hello, pilgrims and happy campers from the inside of a log cabin in Burbank, California. This is Film versus Film. I'm your host, Quinn Boys. I have called my parents to come home over a dozen times in my life, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host. I'm still not sure how to pronounce that. Leonard Smith Jr. What's up, Leonard?
Jr. You know, surprisingly, I think people on the West Coast really have an issue with my name. It happens a lot. I don't understand it. But I'm just appreciate you two being here because I haven't showered in about 6 months.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
It's an audio medium, but
yeah, y'all can't smell it, but I smell awful right now.
We'll draw in the swiggle lines.
Stink lines.
We are here talking about summer camp movies with our guest, comedian, writer, Ellory Smith. What's up, Ellory?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, this is going to be fun. This was an interesting prompt because I've never been to summer camp. So I was like, oh.
Not even a day camp? I've never been to sleepaway camp either. I was going to ask this question. We get it off right off
I
the
was
bat.
a day camp counselor.
You were a day camp counselor?
I was a camp counselor too. So I feel like I have a little bit more, but I never went to
this puts me at a disadvantage with the movie choices. Okay?
I never went to like a camp in the woods somewhere, like with cabins and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Not sleepaway.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that was always the dream, like that Disney show Bug Juice or whatever.
Bug Juice.
Oh my God,
that
I want to go to
such
sleepaway
a relic.
I don't even know Bug Juice.
I think you're too young, maybe.
I don't know. I'm not that. Bug Juice?
Bug Juice. It was a really
I just didn't watch Disney Channel.
Really white summer camp Disney show where it made.
Do you guys know Salute Your Shorts? That's what I like.
What is that?
That was a Nickelodeon summer camp show.
Yeah.
It's just like Salute Your Shorts because they ran someone's shorts up the flagpole. I don't remember that much more about it, but yeah.
But
this isn't a TV podcast.
No, this is a movie podcast. But the only day camp I went to was Bible camp.
Bible camp. Is that
why
you are the way
really
you are?
Religious?
Because you're from the South. So
I'm from the South, but this is really funny because my mom is in town. Happy birthday, Mom. It was my mom's birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Leonard's mom.
So my family did not go to church. I went to church. I went to church with my neighbors. Like I was such a goody two-shoes, lame ass little boy.
That is so lame.
Yeah, it was so lame.
Were your neighbors white?
You know what?
Because were they trying to save your soul or something? Was it fucked up?
I went with my black neighbors.
Okay.
And also my white neighbors.
Why?
To the same church?
Two different churches. Because the black neighbors moved. So then I went to a different church with my white neighbors.
But why?
Because I don't know. Something.
He was worried about his mortal soul.
I guess felt like you needed to heal something?
No, I think as a child I was just like, that's what everybody's doing. I'm going to do it. Like church is the answer.
Bro.
And then at age 11, at age 11, I was like, this is bullshit.
Okay.
You know, I realized very young that the hypocrisy of church and Christianity, and then I
around
were
the
your
time
parents just like let him burn it out?
Probably.
Like he'll
realize. He'll realize.
Were you coming back home to your parents and then just being like, that's a sin? Like were you like filling them in on what you named at church?
No, I wasn't like that.
Okay.
No. But what's funny is my mom just told me a story that I had forgotten about, didn't remember. She's like, you came home on the bus or whatever, and like the woman came in and knocked on the door, and she like came in, and I was like, oh, what did he do? Like, what has he done? And she was like, I just want to tell you that Leonard is the best person we have, and he's such a natural leader. And I was like, bro, maybe that's why I was going to church. They just loved me there.
They loved you so much. They were like, he's a good boy. He's a really good boy.
So
that's so sweet.
So lame.
You just wanted an audience. You just needed
you
needed to be where the people were.
I mean,
I'm trying to find
I was the best reader. Like I got the best reader award.
I also think that's like the first stand up a lot of people see is like preachers.
Yeah.
Like the sermons.
Yeah, somebody up on the pulpit.
Exactly.
And we're all engaged. We're all
people are standing up shouting.
You know, all listening to made up words.
Yes.
All made up stories.
And then the music.
Oh my God.
The music kind of rips.
And the pound cake. The lemon pound cake after service. Go to a Black Baptist church. The best part of church is afterwards.
Okay.
The food. Anyways, we're here to talk about summer camp movies. Quinn, how did you feel about this? What did you pick?
This is a great prompt, Ellery. Thank you for picking this prompt. We've done summer movies, which are that's a different type of thing.
Are summer movies like blockbusters?
Summer movies like blockbuster movies,
like
movies
action.
you'd see during the summer.
Choose?
Jaws and Do the Right Thing.
Oh, Jaws.
Do the Right Thing and Jaws.
Yeah, kind of a weird episode. But
I don't know why. It was a weird episode.
Two very different.
Good luck picking between those
Well, that's the whole point of
movies.
this podcast.
Yeah.
Blind spots.
But these are two. Well, I mean, it's like this is a literal one. Sometimes we'll get like nebula, like we had Netflix and chill movies. What does that mean? We can interpret it however we want.
Movies where you can have sex and it's still in the background.
That or movies that get you in the mood for sex.
See,
Or but
Do you guys
also
remember
like
Waiting?
yes.
That's the
You've talked about
first
Waiting on
sex
this
movie
before.
where like it was on TV all the time and you just would have sex with it on in the background.
Yeah.
I wasn't having sex when Waiting was on television, unfortunately. But one time when I was tripping on synthetic mescaline, I found the same exact couch from the movie outside of my lofts, and it was my couch for like 10 years.
Whoa.
Okay.
That like weird diagonal gray, like brown
really
and tan
beautiful.
couch. I was like, holy shit. It was so tight. Like we were all tripping. I was like, oh my fucking God.
The couch from the movie.
And it was fine. Everything was intact. It didn't smell bad. I was like, holy
It
shit.
didn't
Like
smell bad.
it just gotten put out. I was like, this is meant to be.
Speaking of movies that are on so much that you've probably had sex during them at some point, my pick is a movie that I don't think anyone saw in theaters. We're gonna get to like the stats later on, but I picked a movie that I've only seen, I think, on Comedy Central until I rented it and watched it again last night. I'm talking about Wet Hot American Summer.
You guys aren't supposed to be out of your bunks. You're in trouble.
The camp director.
4 campers are stuck in the ropes course. I meant to tell you about that yesterday. Could you get to it now?
The counselors.
Wait for me, Abby Bernstein. Wait for me, my darling.
Wait. I just want to take off my shirt.
The kitchen staff.
Finish up the taters. I'm gonna go find my sweaters.
Come on, what? The water sports.
Hey, Andy, can I take out the Barbie bus?
Sure.
The nature hikes.
Out! Out!
And of course, who can forget the sex, the muggings, the cover-ups, the malaria, the psychotherapy,
Hello.
and the friendships that last a lifetime.
We want you to be the guest of honor at our wedding next week.
This is a movie from 2001. It stars everybody, I think. Like I could go through the list, the cast, but
It's one of my
like,
favorite movies in the world.
wow.
One of my
That's
favorite
Oh
comedies.
boy.
huge,
But
huge
also
off the bat.
yours is too. But
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, we'll get to yours, Leonard. But right now we're talking all about Wet Hot American Summer. This is a movie. The plot is there's every character has their own little plot line, but basically it's like a send up of every summer camp movie.
It's just a parody, basically.
It's a
right?
parody, but
Almost,
it's a parody
like-
that is the thing that it's parodying. It's not like there's no
It's not a
distance
satire.
or remove.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
They're just doing like when
They're
I was
just doing
thinking
the
about
thing.
this, I was like, should I give like which is a movie I'd seen, and it's a little bit earlier than movies we talk about, but like Bill Murray's movie Meatballs, which is
Yeah.
like
Oh,
but this
that's
movie
so
like
fun.
does that plus like a ton of other ones. Like they even have like the scene where they're about to have the big baseball game, which is a
Yeah, that
direct
was
parody
pretty-
to Meatballs.
And we try to come from behind at the last minute with some weird trick play that we made up, and we win the game. What do you say, team?
It sounds like pretty well-worn territory. The whole thing feels kind of trite. I say we forget it.
Is that how everybody feels?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, it's fine with me.
I just feel like this movie encompasses like whatever you think about summer camp movies, either real or ironically, like it has it in here. And it's also got like, I don't know, it's like a Linklater movie. It's like Dazed and Confused or something where like everybody in that movie was on the come up and they all became, almost all of them became. If you're in this movie and you're not famous today,
What did
Okay.
you do?
Kill yourself.
Okay,
Kill yourself.
That's funny because I was going to
Because
ask
so-
about that. Like, how would that feel to be like
The one person who didn't pop off?
didn't, you know,
There's a couple, but like
as long as
most
it was
people
like
in this
not of
movie-
your own doing. It's like the movie before they all become who they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. This
Like-
Bradley Cooper missed his college graduation to film this movie.
Stop picking it up!
Really?
Yeah. He was at Pace or some shit like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Smart decision.
I mean, this like Paul Rudd, Amy Poehler, like pre SNL Amy Poehler, or just that she was getting on SNL. I don't think she was on it
I
when she
think it was
filmed
maybe
this.
what year is
It's
this?
2001. She
2001.
wasn't
Yeah, but it
on
premiered
SNL
at
yet.
Sundance, I
I
think,
think she
in
did get on-
I think
January.
it was
Sorry,
like
2006.
2006. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
No, not
premiered at
2006.
Sundance.
Oh,
I think
'cause no,
maybe
'cause
2003.
Whatever.
Because she was there with Tina.
'Cause-
Yes, no, for sure. She was probably there in 2006, but I think she premiered a little bit earlier. Either way,
yes,
she was
yes,
not
yes.
on
I
SNL
think
at
this
this
is right
time, I don't
before.
think. Elizabeth Banks, Janine Garofalo, Ken Marino, Bradley Cooper, as you mentioned, the Mr. Show guy. Like, there's just a ton of
The
people in
Mr.
this
Show
movie.
guy, and also the
Yeah.
guy from SVU.
Wait.
Yes,
Who plays-
yes.
Christopher Maloney?
Christopher
Chris Maloney.
Yes.
In the pantry over the sink, right next to my bottle of dick cream. Wait.
it was nice because there are some like established actors in this that they convinced. The dude from Frasier or whatever.
Molly Shannon too.
Molly Shannon, the art teacher.
Oh
yeah,
that's such a good one.
Yeah, the dude from Frasier, David Hyde Pierce. Yes,
David Hyde Pierce.
It's a who's who of white actors in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were
white improv actors,
if you were white and you weren't in this movie, and kill yourself because I think it's a ton of. But it's like, so you said this is one of your favorites. I discovered it probably the first time I saw this movie. I think I probably hated it because I was like a preteen, a young teenager, and I didn't get really that it was a parody. And I think I just thought it was like cheaply made. Like the things that are jokes, which I now understand to be intentional humor. Like anytime they toss something off screen, it has like the stock pottery
sound.
shattering sound. I was like, what the hell is that? Like I just did it. It truly went, I don't want to say it's like so smart that it went over my head, but I think I just thought it was like,
well, it's
bad,
also a camp movie that at that point in our lives we'd only seen camp movies that follow the teenagers, and this camp movie is about the adults. It's about the counselors. Have you seen there's a documentary of the making of Wet Hot American Summer?
Oh no.
It's called Hurricane of Fun.
I heard that it was like a famously
really
cursed
yes.
shoot. Like
yeah.
Doing a little research.
It rained every day.
Yeah. They filmed for
of
28
production.
days and it rained actively. Like they lost like 23 days. They had to shoot around rain like every day.
Wow.
Yeah. And you can see sometimes their breath is.
Can you imagine
like
how much fun was had on that set?
It seemed like it was because they lived in the cabins.
Yeah.
So it seemed like a lot of fun, but you can see in the documentary that like David Wayne is losing part of his life, like trying to get it made. Like he has like an ulcer. And then the scene where they crash the car, they only had one chance to do it because they couldn't afford another car. So he's like, they're getting ready to crash the car and he's like hyperventilating, like about to cry, being like, this has to go the way that I need it to because we don't have any money. We're already over budget. Like we don't have any more days that we can shoot this.
Oh my God.
And then it goes well and it makes the perfect movie.
It is a good crunched in the tree kind of crash. But I was like, another thing about that, like he gets run off the road by nothing. Like he's driving and he gets right. So like I would have
Listen,
believed
that happens to some of us a lot. So
have you had
before we get too into your movie?
Okay.
Well, let me announce my movie, which when you gave us this prompt, I was like, there aren't as many choices. I was like, is it like a movie you would watch at summer camp, or like is it a movie specifically about camp? Because there are only so many choices, and I don't think I'd really seen. I think I've seen. I think I
texted early once
and
we knew.
Heavyweights is a good
Heavyweights
one.
was always on
Heavyweights
TV as
is
a kid,
where I thought you might go,
and I was thinking about it, but it was like I'm not watching this movie where they're like trying to get fat people to do these things. I'm not doing it.
That's not what I thought. Just because I stuck my flag in Wet Hot so early, I was like, Leonard's got nothing.
I know you
felt
picked
like
the clear front runner queen,
but
as
I
I
think
call
this
you.
is a really creative choice,
But yes,
and it's really good.
I went with a movie that I loved as a child. I loved the
Still
Addams
holds up,
Family.
too.
Yes, and this is not the first Addams Family movie. This is the second movie.
Mm-hmm.
Gomez.
Cara mia.
Marvelous news. I'm going to have a baby. Right now.
Are you in unbearable pain? My darling, is it torture?
Oui.
It's a boy. It's a girl.
Gomez!
What news? Father, what is it?
It's an Addams.
I think their whole family's like some weird medical experiment.
I mean, I feel like the summer camp scenes in this movie are the most memorable scenes.
They are.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
It's like
They
that
are.
and Joan Cusack.
These Addams men, where do you find them?
It has to be done.
Are pretty iconic. But I went with Addams Family Value simply because I as a child forever loved the scene where they fucking set everything on fire.
You have taken the land which is rightfully ours. Years from now, my people will be forced to live in mobile homes, on reservations. My people will have pain and degradation. Your people will have stick shifts. The gods of my tribe have spoken. They have said, do not trust the pilgrims.
I remember watching it being like, oh my God, they're right about American history. Where Wednesday Addams is like, what you're doing is wrong. The way that we treated these people is wrong. And like, to make up for it, we're going to burn this whole shit down. I was like, yes.
I'm not going to allow you to whitewash this history and make it all fun.
It does feel pretty progressive for a movie from 1993.
It was so progressive, and it was also a subversion of the summer camp form where like, I mean, I think it's just like Wednesday Addams being who she is going to summer camp. That's such a funny idea because like all the counselors are so happy. They're so excited. Like those 2 counselors.
Oh my God.
And then like the little girl with braids.
Every girl is blonde.
Every single girl is blonde.
And the boys. Everyone was
Most of the
blonde
boys
except
are,
for the outcast, which you see more of the outcast during the pilgrim scene.
Did you take that as a slight? Or
Oh, I'm not a real blonde.
Oh, okay.
I didn't become blonde until I moved out here.
Smart.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then they needed me to get my license. They were like, sorry, you need a box of peroxide.
Yeah, no, they don't let you cross state lines.
And
No, not if you're a girl.
I mean, this was, there's not as much summer camp involved, but it is a big part of the movie. Were you surprised? Did you have anything in mind when you gave us this prompt, or?
No, I was definitely thinking about Hot American Summer for sure. And then I was also Heavyweights crossed my mind. But Addams Family Values was such a fun. I was like so excited to see that you had chosen that, because when I think about that movie, I do think about the summer camp scenes.
Yeah.
Like that's what comes to my memory. And then also thinking about, it's funny to think about a family during the summer months where one member is away.
Exactly.
And how the family dynamic changes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be part of my fight.
And
Wednesday, but it's okay.
Wednesday's having a moment, so you're getting your hot.
And what's so funny is we haven't mentioned the brother at all. I don't even know the brother's name.
Pugsley.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Pugsley, and then the cute little baby.
I mostly was familiar with the first one, the first Addams Family. I definitely had seen this one, but probably not for 25 years or something.
I haven't
it
seen
had been
this
a
movie in
long
very
It's so
long time.
delightful.
It's great to revisit it, and I forgot how perfectly
Raul Julia.
How perfectly cast they all are.
They are,
Raul Julia as Gomez, Angelica
so
Houston
good.
as I totally forgot. I assume it's
And
also
Christopher
a bit in the
Lloyd.
first
Oh
one
my
that Angelica Houston is always lit.
Oh, the way they light it?
like
Oh,
that
it's-
kind of like.
oh, I love that.
And it's so funny. Like I don't know. I'm not to like get. But I'm like, they had to light her like this. Like even when people are in shot with her, like they clearly have to make sure that she has
She's
that.
a light box right across here.
Yeah,
The femme fatale.
She's giving birth in the beginning of the movie, and she's just like laying back, not in pain or not like at all. And Raul Julia being like, "Is it terribly painful?" Like,
Yeah.
the Addams they're horny and they're like dark and they're twisted, and it's not obviously they don't kill the baby.
Children, what are you doing in there?
But the fact the first
They
act
try
is
to so
is
hard.
Wednesday and Pugsley trying to kill the baby. I'm like, this movie kind of goes for. I don't feel like you
It
chose
goes so hard. I love
Yeah,
it.
It was
great.
so funny. I was loving it, but I watched this movie with my mom just on Thursday, and every time they were like gonna do something, the baby, she was like, "Oh,
Oh, that is so sweet.
she was like so concerned for the
That
baby."
is so sweet.
It was so funny.
Oh, that
And,
really endears me to your mom. I love that.
Christopher Lloyd as from Back
Christopher.
to the Future as Fester is the most
Is
like
that? I
reviling.
guess I didn't realize that was Christopher Lloyd.
I did not realize that until
Holy
I watched
shit.
it. Until I watched it this time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But,
But
you're
as a
right.
kid,
but
I
now,
didn't-
like the eyes and the nose.
Yeah.
Jesus, you're
He
blowing
did
my mind.
such
I
a
guess
good
I didn't
job.
realize that.
It's so perfectly, and Christina Ricci as Wednesday, and I don't know who played Pugsley, but that's fine. But
and Joan
like,
Cusack as well.
and Joan
is
Cusack is
Oh,
so
she's
good.
so
So
good.
killer in that.
The widow, the
Black Widow.
Yeah,
the
the Black Widow.
Yeah. That's the one black person in this movie is Joan Cusack.
Yeah, there's
It's Jamal. That scene, that was my intro where like Christine Baranski is one of the camp counselors, and she's like, "Is it Jamal or Jamal?" And then
yeah.
that little kid is just sitting there like, "Oh man."
and then
That's his Get Out.
Yeah.
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 I thought it was pretty funny. I'm gonna go back to Wet Hot American Summer where they like capture the flag and then they just have like the Ethiopian runner. How they always win in the Olympics. I was like, all right, at least there's a black person.
David Wayne had to pay that guy. He's freaking out. It's like the Ethiopian has to capture the flag in the shot.
Talking about the budget on Wet Hot American Summer, one part that I thought was really funny was like when was it Chris Peroni or whatever his name is?
Christopher Maloney.
Not Christopher Maloney, but the really horny guy with the Jerry curl and the
Oh,
shorts.
yes.
He's like, you have to
Ken
go.
Marino.
Ken Marino is like,
No, not Ken Marino. The guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
yes, I mean
Joe LaTruglia.
Yes.
Joe Latruda, yeah.
There's
but
too many people in this
they're,
movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're in the scene together, and
Yeah,
the kids
yeah.
are in the water. He's like, "You got to go save them," and then he's like, "There's just him watching, like you're saving them, you're doing it."
You're doing it. You're actually doing it. Oh, you saved them. You saved them. You saved them.
And it's like, yeah, they could not afford to like have them
That's
go
so
out in the
funny.
yeah. I don't know. I just thought that was funny. Like they were just paying, like they were just like letting us know, like, listen, we can't afford to
Yes.
shoot this scene.
Yeah.
So we're just
They
gonna,
couldn't afford the insurance on that scene.
There's no way.
There's no way. To have a kid pretend to drown and then have to have like a water camera in, like
And like during that scene when the kids are in the boat, like one of the kids is just like clearly like laughing, like they're all supposed to be like, ah, Wicked's like, like just having a good time. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Paul Rudd was talking to someone about this movie, and he's like, I'm pretty sure I never got paid. Like, he's like, I don't think they ever cut me the check because they had so much else going on or whatever. And he was fine about it.
Really funny.
He was Ant-Man at that point or whatever. But he was like, yeah, I don't think
that was
I ever
after
got paid
Clueless for him.
Yeah.
Or like maybe right before. So he's
pretty
the
established. He
only
has some money.
star in this movie at that. Oh, no. I mean, I guess David Hyde Pierce had been on Frasier, and Janine Garofalo was known.
Yeah.
But he's like of the younger camp counselor.
Yeah, he's
group.
probably the biggest name at the time.
Ellery, you said you were a camp counselor. Were you a good camp counselor?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay. Yeah.
I was like sort of chronically on my phone.
Okay.
When like
How old were you when you were a camp
I was, young college. Like my first few years of college, I worked I had 2 jobs every summer, and I worked at a grocery store, and I was a camp counselor.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Wait, hold on. What grocery store?
Trader Joe's.
Let's go. TJ's.
Yes, I worked there for 6 years, 3 of them with my mom, which is very cute.
That's
sweet.
very cute. That's funny
very
you worked
sweet.
at TJ's.
Was she like doing the checkout and you were bagging, or was it like a tandem?
Everybody does everything. But yeah,
Okay.
we did do that where if I had like some shit to talk about with her, I'd hop on bagging and like we'd scan.
I feel like it's just a grocery store for people who don't have children. It's for like bachelors and like young people.
There is an element of sex in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, but
See those Hawaiian shirts.
I love
Not
grocery
when your mom
stores.
works there. There's
No,
not, I would assume.
even then, because old
Okay.
people would come through and I'd be like,
Oh, for her there was
for her.
sex.
So
yeah.
you worked at Trader Joe's and
I was a
counselor.
camp counselor, and I remember I used to love playing dodgeball with the kids because the really shitty kids I could sort of like,
Yeah.
and it was sort of the one time. But then one kid hit
How old were the kids?
They were anywhere from like 8 to 14.
Yeah.
Sort of a large.
That's
swath.
a good time for hitting kids with the dodgeball.
Yeah, you're allowed to at that point.
Did they like all have a crush on you or anything? Like that?
No, I wasn't hot back then, so it was a little different.
That
but
was when you came to California.
Yeah, that was before I came to California. No, legitimately, before I got Invisalign, before I, dyed my hair,
Okay.
but before I tweezed my eyebrows at all. One of the kids once threw one back, and I got a really bad bloody nose, and the whole gymnasium like erupted into laughter. And I was like, oh, these shits, they hate me.
They hate you.
So-
Children are the worst.
They're so
bad.
I was a camp counselor at the YMCA, which was down the block from my house. And that was like my high school job, which became my summer job, which became my college job. Like I did that for a number of years. And we had the same, like it was all the kids, it was sports camp.
Yeah, me
technically.
too, yeah.
So it was all the kids you could fit in a wide gymnasium. It was like one of the gymnasiums with like the dividing wall that you could retract. So we had like the entire gymnasium, that was like our main area. And then sometimes we'd take them to the park. But there was like 3 or 4 counselors for like 60 kids. And we were not great summer. Nobody was like sneaking off to have sex. It was a day camp and stuff, but like there was a similar amount of slacking off. And we would give the kids nicknames. The thing I remember is feeling so bad. I did not give some of the harshest nicknames, but I definitely did not stop it. And we called this one kid who was like, he was not sick, but he was like very just like we called him Skeletor because everyone hated this kid. Like this kid would just like, he would tattle to the other counselors, and then someone's just like, this kid looks like Skeletor, and then that became that kid's name. And one time his mom came in to be like, why is my
Shut up, that's so funny.
Most of the kids loved their nicknames, but not Skeletor because nobody likes Skeletor.
Well, I feel like Skeletor would be a tight nickname.
I remember directing
tight,
him
not
to
the
that.
worst.
Well, we had to kind of come up with why it was Skeletor, and it wasn't just because
you look like shit.
Yeah, because this kid sucks and he looks like shit. He looks like Ellery before she got hot. I mean,
Yes.
it was like
No boobs.
we had to like come up with like some reason to, like I don't even remember what it was, but I directed him to the counselor that came up with them. Like, you got to own this one, man. I'm not telling this kid's mom.
I love like no matter what culture it is, you don't like a snitch.
Yeah.
I do think there's something so funny because I still work with kids. I'm a babysitter, and there is something funny about how I don't care how bad a kid is. If another kid is like ratting on them to me, I'm like, you're worse. You're
Yeah.
so much worse.
Yeah.
I'm like, have some solidarity.
Yeah, man.
Like if you guys unionize, you could take us over, but you won't work together.
Easily.
Some kids would come in and be like, I have a peanut allergy. And then we'd be like, all right, sit in the corner. we had ostracized the kids with the peanut allergy because they were like, no, you're supposed to make no one can have peanuts. And I'm like,
No.
the logistics of that is crazy.
Yeah.
The summer camp with 60 kids, you don't have any kids have
What
peanut
do you
butter
have
and
them
jelly?
Who bring their own
basically-
snacks.
Yeah, they bring
You
their
have
own
them like
snack.
for a work day, basically 9 to 4
Yeah,
or
Yeah.
something like that.
8 to 3, 8 to 4.
And then there are always
something.
parents who like don't want to pick up their kids, so it'll be like 7:00, and you're like, well, I got shit to do.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
I mean, those are my
Your child
parents,
is
so.
going missing. Sorry.
I'm just
be-
sending them out into the world. I'm letting them go.
It's gonna be Paul Rudd and Wet Hot, where you're just throwing them out of a moving car.
Andy, have you seen my swimming buddy?
I was busy.
It's your job to make sure kids don't drown. Where are we going?
To a big secret pizza party?
Yeah.
To get rid of them.
I can't imagine because like I have a nephew, and he is turning 13 in July. And
Shouts to
I
Leonard's
loved
nephew.
him when he was young, when he was like 6, 7.
They're
8.
fun at
It's
that
like
age.
about 8, 9. About 9 is when they start to suck. You know, it was like they started becoming really opinionated.
But that's what I
and-
love, because then they're like little people, and
Yeah,
like
I know.
they like are so they already know what they think about the world, which
Yeah.
is so funny.
How old are the kids that you babysit?
8, 10, and 13.
Oh, so you know.
Yeah.
You know.
So it
but
sounds like
they're
they might
so-
all suck, but I'm not going to make you.
Well, the ones that I babysit are so. They're like the 3 kids I've ever met who I'm like, you don't suck.
No, I think I love my nephew. It's just funny. I think the way I interact with him is I treat him like he's an adult. I basically just like treat him like he's an adult.
But he
And just-
basically,
yeah.
except for like some things that he can't do, he basically is. He's emotionally a little bit of an adult.
Yeah.
So I think kids appreciate that when you talk to them, not
Yeah.
down, but like
I
across.
can't talk to you like a child. I gotta
Well,
talk to you like you're an adult.
That's one of the, like, it feels like they had Molly Shannon for maybe like a day or two, and 'cause
Literally,
most of her
it's such
scenes
a
are
bit
just
part.
in that art room. And that kid, speaking of kids that are like adults, that child that she ends up marrying at the
Yeah.
end of the movie, who's like,
Yes.
it's like, stay strong. Like they're talking her through her divorce
Yes.
from
Yeah.
her husband, Judah Friedlander, another person who's-
Without his hat on.
Without his hat
First
on.
time I've ever seen him
Yeah.
without his hat on.
Terrifying. Yeah, no. So there's a lot of like, I feel like that's what I like from a lot of different kinds. Like there's some of the dumbest, like there's weird jokes in here. There's like really kind of heady, smart
Yes.
jokes in here. There's production jokes. So there's like in-universe jokes. Like this movie shoots high to low consistently.
Definitely.
and
It's a
everything
lot all
is
over the
very,
place.
like,
Yeah.
And then as I got into entertainment, and because I was like so obsessed with comedy very young, and there was like not really a lot of access at my school. Like they did like Into the Woods maybe once a year, but there wasn't I didn't know what improv was, whatever. But then as I watched Wet Hot American Summer over and over and over again, and then I sort of got into comedy, I felt like inside baseball. Whereas like now I know all these people, now I understand a lot more of these jokes. Like I get why.
Yeah, I feel like this is a very niche kind of cult classic maybe movie for like UCB improvisers, groundlings type people who are just really into the comedy scene. I don't think this movie's necessarily for the masses. I remember when I saw it.
I mean, it has 2 Netflix spin. It is weird how it became like in the 15 years after it came out. This like weird because I almost like when it got the 2 Netflix shows, I was like, I don't know that it's here either. You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't have that broad appeal. But the thing is the execs who are making those decisions are in those.
Yeah,
those
that's
are
true.
people who
That's a good
did
point.
UCB classes too. So it like has outsized importance to them the same way it has outsized importance to us.
Yeah, that's true. I took 201 with Reed Hastings.
Did you really? No.
That's so funny.
Netflix is just hanging out in my improv class.
How old are you?
You cannot yes and.
I remember seeing this like younger and like maybe having the feeling you had. Like I don't necessarily get this maybe at the time, and then I saw it again. It's like, oh, because I feel like everybody I know in the improv community scene is like all about this movie. And I hadn't watched it in a while, so it was interesting rewatching it. A lot of it didn't hit for me the same how it used to in the past, but there were parts that are like I loved certain jokes that were like really funny, like the raft scene and the scene where she's like, I'm cold, and he's like, do you want my? Or he's like, I'm cold, and he's like, do you want my sweater? And he's like, oh well, now I'm good. He's like, do you want my flannel?
Yeah.
And he's like, that's my favorite flannel. And he's like, oh really? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna need that back. She's like, okay. He's like, yeah, like right now. And then he gives it right back to her. Like there are parts that were really funny. The Molly Shannon, it was just a little weird. But
Oh, it's weird.
Gail, listen to me. Look at me. Gail, look at me. Gail, look at me. I want you to say, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so weird.
Yeah.
But that's why it's so
Yeah.
fun. It's like you almost can't watch.
yeah, I was like, whoa, I don't know how to feel.
The
But
parentification of a child.
I forgot about the scene where they go into town.
Yes.
Oh,
And
and it's like one day, but they end up like doing drugs and getting
Yes.
sex workers and
It's like everything that normally would make me mad about this movie.
Yeah.
And it was kind of happening. I had to be like, it's not that type of movie to me. It's not like I love because like
That's
they're
what I mean.
basically
The movie legit tricked me. I was like, this is just a poorly made movie.
Exactly.
And it was kind of low budgeted
yeah.
and poorly made, but they used that. I didn't realize how much they were leaning into it. So like the scene where he's running away from Joe Truly on the motorcycle and they come to the stunt double who looks nothing like him. There's just a bale of hay in the road. I was like, what the fuck is this? You guys didn't have enough money for that? I just couldn't understand the concept of intentionally showing that you didn't have a budget
and
like
intentionally
make me think
being
that-
like, this is all happening in one day, and like scenes that would take hours or days is happening in 10
2
minutes.
seconds, yeah.
It's like, okay.
But I think if we can steer back to Addams Family, there is one part of the summer camp experience, or just whether you sleep away or like a new grade at school, which is going into a new community of people and not wanting to go there. Like I feel
Yeah.
like even the kids that love summer camp that like don't want their parents to come pick them up, when you drop them off, they're terrified. And so that scene where they get there and they're greeted by like a blonde army of children, and you see like Pugsley in the background trying to literally hang himself from the tree, and like Wednesday's trying to drink poison. The Addams Family is one of the few shows, I know it started as live action, maybe that's why, but it feels so cartoonish, but the cartoon gags like work, maybe because the characters are also
so outsized.
Yeah. Like I feel like I usually don't like that, like seeing cartoon
Also,
physics in
they play it so dryly.
Mhm.
Every single one of the characters in the family, like really, especially the two kids, play it so seriously and so dryly that it really works for me.
We're not shy. We're contagious.
It's such a, because I assume, I don't remember the first one, but I assume the first one mostly takes place in the house and whatever that story is, but like it's such a smart idea to like the Addamses are weird, but within their world they're normal. So you have to bring them to like one of the most like normal kind of
Standardized
American
places,
kind of experiences, which is like the summer camp by the lake. And like play it against like these chipper kids. And I forget the name of the guy, but he's in everything too. The counselors are so funny.
Is like everybody has children. Let's see what it is for them to have a baby. You know? And I honestly don't remember the first movie very well.
No, I don't remember any of it.
Yeah, I don't know what happens. All I remember is the second one. I love the second one. There's a scene where like Gomez doesn't have a job and he's like eating Fruit Loops out of a big bowl and watching Maury.
Okay.
And I think that's the third one. I think they did a third one.
They did. No, and then there's also, I saw Addams Family Vacation, which was the animated one that came out a few years ago. Not bad.
Okay.
Not bad at all.
I feel like most Addams Family content is pretty. Yeah, because I was saying I never watched the show, like the '60s show. Maybe it was on TV Land at some point.
It was weird. Like
I watched a lot of it.
I love that show.
Me too.
And
On
the
TV
Munsters.
Land.
Yeah,
I watched the
Munsters.
I remember the Munsters more on TV Land.
The blonde niece from Munsters is from my hometown. She's like our only famous person.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your hometown? The normal one?
Cambridge, New York. At 1600 population, 1600. So it's very.
What I do like about the Addams Family is like you get the summer camp. It's very different than Wet Hot American Summer. It's like an actual film.
Yeah, no, there was a budget. There's production value.
It's very highly produced.
I was with like Barry Sonnenfeld, who I think was like the director of photography for the Coen brothers, which is kind of funny. But then went on to do like Men in Black. I was like, oh, this is a real movie. I thought it was maybe like a kid's movie or something. But I'm like, no. This, like you said, it's.
I feel like it appeals to children. It appeals to everyone in the family, and I just don't want to breeze past the storyline of Joan Cusack and the Black Widow.
Why, to take care of you. All of you.
With Christopher Lloyd. Like that.
So good.
It was just like
so delightful.
That whole storyline was great. And Christopher Lloyd just like cowering upstairs in his white fucking blazer while Gomez is like, "You're my brother."
Yes.
Go away! That is not my brother.
Sorry.
You have enslaved him. You have placed Fester under some strange sexual spell. I respect that.
And I was like, the acting is just so good. It was just like
so good.
Everything just played so real and
it's so emotional, because he wants love so badly and he's willing to do anything for it. And so part of the movie, you're like, well, if he's in love, what does it matter?
Yeah.
But then you see like a healthy relationship with Gomez and Morticia, and you're like, but this is what you should.
This is what you strive for. This is what we all want.
Yeah, exactly.
But man, she got on top of him.
There's a sex scene.
The
sex scene in this movie.
The sex scene was wild.
Off-screen penetration, but you're there the whole time.
Off-screen penetration. That's a really good band name.
Yeah.
Off-screen penetration.
Let's make that band.
The way his eyes go, I was like, oh my God. And I was watching with my mom. Oh, I was like, all right. So I was like, Mom, I have to watch 3 movies because we're doing another episode after this.
Your mom's in town. I got to watch 3 movies for a podcast.
I was like, because we did some things, but she's like, oh, let's go home. We were full. She's like, let's go home and hang out. And I was like, all right. Do you want to watch Wet Hot American Summer, Addams Family Values, or Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Oh wait, that's one of my other favorite movies.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, we're talking about that
to a
next.
summer camp.
And she was like, "We're not watching Wet Hot American Summer just because of the name."
I was about to say,
I'm not,
she didn't know what it was.
She's like, "I'm not watching that
want?
with you." She doesn't know what it is. She just did not like the name.
I feel like that is not a movie that moms would have patience for. Like if my mom saw the movie, she'd be like, "Turn this shit off."
Yeah, she would not.
Yeah, my mom likes to laugh, but doesn't have that like what would you call? I wouldn't call it anti-comedy, but this like meta-comedy quality.
It's meta-comedy.
She
It's
would
comedy
be like,
for people who are in comedy.
Yeah.
Where my mom likes The Ranch on Netflix. Like that's her comedy. Which don't.
No. My mom watches all the shows, and it had nothing to do with them. So She was like, "Oh, The Voice." She's like, "You know, did you know Chance the Rapper is now like?"
I saw that and it made me sad.
Is on The Voice?
Is on The Voice.
Yeah, he's on The Voice. Chance the
He
Rapper.
must be in some financial trouble.
I don't know. He hasn't been.
Well, he kept releasing his albums for free, and this is what happened. Okay.
My mom was like, "Oh yeah, there's a new black guy on The Voice. He's she said a singer." So I was just like, "What?"
She didn't know who Chance the Rapper was?
She's like, "I know his name. I can't think of his name," and she kept trying.
It's Bobby the singer.
Okay, let's get into these talking points.
Yeah, we've got Ellery. We have 5 patented. To help you make your decision, you are going to have to choose between these films. Not yet. We're gonna siphon them through our patented 5-point criteria system, which should make things a little bit more clear. I think we've already been talking about a lot of the things we may touch on again, but let's talk about our first point: pop culture. Like you said, Leonard. I mean, I think it's tough to divorce what is like the Addams Family before this movie and what you get from this movie. I think. Just because I feel like the Addams Family. I think specifically there's that shot of Wednesday in like a headdress.
Yes.
That a lot of people,
with
you
the
know,
TV behind her.
TV
That's
behind her.
very iconic.
Yeah, that's
and
iconic.
I think that's become.
That's pretty much
more-
it. It's like Addams Family as a whole.
I do feel like Joan Cusack just herself is sort of iconic.
I also think
like
that
there's some memorable. I didn't remember that I remembered her from this movie until she walked in. And I was like,
you're like,
oh, right, yeah.
There was also a whole generation of Halloween costumes from Pheasant.
Oh yeah,
Joan
yeah.
Cusack.
Yeah.
I think everybody in my grade was getting that Pugsley shave your entire head to buzz, but then have rake gelled bangs that you kind of go.
That was wild.
That was a look.
Shout out to Pugsley, whose name is Jimmy Workman.
Jimmy Workman, great name.
Hey, it's me, Jimmy Workman. How you doing?
That's a really good
It's a
name.
real lunch pail.
I'm here to
kind of
fix
guy.
your sink.
Yeah.
Jimmy Workman.
Pop. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's pretty iconic. It apparently is so popular that they made the show Wednesday. I mean, they're always trying to remake everything. Have y'all watched that yet?
No, that's
I
not
haven't.
my speed.
Yeah, it's not my speed either.
I've seen it.
How is it?
It's okay. My wife was really into it, and she's like, "Let's watch it." So
Really?
we watched it. Yeah.
Did she like the show?
Yeah, she did like the show. You know, it's made by the people that made Smallville, which was a show that I totally ate up in 20
Yeah, but that
years
was like
ago.
20 years ago
I know.
when you were
So there was
15.
a little bit of the
Yeah, never.
the teenage love triangle stuff I was out on, but I will say I like Jenna Ortega's Wednesday. I thought she was pretty good. And Christina Ricci is in that show
she's
too,
in it?
so they pay respects. To
No,
the
I'll probably
original.
never watch that.
No, I probably won't.
I'll watch Christina Ricci in Yellow Jackets. That's about to come out.
Catherine
Yes.
Zeta-Jones plays
So
Morticia.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Luis-
is what she's in.
Yeah,
Catherine
Luis
Zeta-Jones,
Guzman.
Morticia.
I did not know that.
Luis Guzman is Gomez.
Wow, that's
I do think that
crazy.
is good casting.
Yeah,
as
no,
Gomez.
it's a different
crazy.
take. I mean, Raul Julia is
He's the
you can't-
Gomez.
The Gomez.
Yeah.
I don't even know about the original.
Are they
show,
as
but I
horny
feel
as
like-
they?
Yes, which I
Okay.
feel like Catherine Zeta-Jones is probably like, okay. No shouts. No offense to Luis Guzman, but like Raul Julia, charming Angelica Houston is a lot.
There
You get
apparently
it.
were some people who were like giving flack for the casting of Luis Guzman.
Wait, why?
Because they were like, he's not sexy enough. And I was like, oh, that's
No,
fucked
He doesn't
up.
have to be
not-
sexy. He just has to be horny.
Yeah, no, that's not fair.
Yeah.
This was
Especially
probably the
because,
horniest movie I watched. as a
Like
kid.
traditional sexy is what makes Gomez so delightful is that he's charming. He's like in love with life. You
That
know?
was more my thing. Is like I think Raul Julia really had more charisma than Luis Guzman has, but I appreciated the like different.
But I'm
take
also like,
oh, and Fred
couldn't
Armisen
think
plays
of it.
Fester, by the way.
Oh,
I heard that.
Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Not nearly as good
as
as
Christopher Lloyd?
Christopher
Okay.
Lloyd, but still fun. Anyway,
All right,
Is he bald?
he is bald. Yeah, he does it like not to be. He's like, hey, how's it going, guys? He's kind of doing like
that's
halfway Fester,
funny.
halfway Fred Armisen
Yeah,
impression.
it's a Portlandia Fester.
It's a little bit of a Portland. Like you can feel him doing it.
Oh.
Whereas like I believe.
See, that's why I can't
that-
act because I'm like that's tough. It's tough
Yeah.
to do.
I believe that Christopher Lloyd
Is
sleeps
that-
in a coffin
yeah.
for this role. You know what I mean?
I hope that someday you'll know the indescribable joy of having children and of paying someone else to raise them.
But first, wouldn't I have to get married?
Oh, but you're just a boy. There's plenty of time. You'll meet someone very special. Someone who won't press charges.
I'd like that.
Was he reading like women and the men who frighten them or something like that before he goes to bed? Where
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
like
yeah.
lovelorn. Anyway,
They also just don't make freaks like they used to.
No.
Like there used to be real freaks in entertainment.
Yeah.
Everybody's so sheen now,
Yeah,
like
it's true.
one-dimensional
It's pretty annoying.
influencer.
Yeah.
Nothing is as like just that's the thing. Like I get like there's monster. I mean, we don't have to keep talking about the show Wednesday, but like it's the vibe is much creepier, even though it's much more family friendly and fun in the Addams Family because they just let the weirdos be weirdos.
Yes.
You believe, no one's trying to kill a baby in the Wednesday show.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's what the woke mob took from us.
That's what the woke mob. They won. that round. Wet Hot, I feel like, is, like we've been saying, it's niche. But the people who are into it, I feel like, for example, I looked to see if it was a real song. I knew that it probably wasn't, but like every time I'm like running now, and it's also the amount of times I watched this movie when it was on Comedy Central seemingly every weekend for like the early part of the 2000s. But that like, out of the fever, into the fire, taking it higher and higher. That song that he's doing with like the training montage.
Yes.
I think about that. That song will get stuck in my head today.
It's because they couldn't buy the rights to a real song.
I know. They just made a song that feels like the Rocky,
Yeah.
a training,
They
Rocky
did a good
training
job.
montage
They
thing.
did a really good
They
job.
And it is so catchy. It's not clever.
But they all, David Wayne's dad band, where it's like him, Ken Marino. They played Sketchfest this year. They have a band. I think they did that song.
Really?
I think so.
Now I have incredible FOMO because I feel like that song sticks with me. But yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you think of when you think of this movie? Like in terms of the pop culture, the lasting pop cultural elements of this movie.
I'm trying to think what I remember the most when I think about it would be.
I remember Paul Rudd's, and again, these are all niche, but like when Janine Garofalo tells him to pick up his.
Andy? You gonna clean that up?
I gotta.
And he throws it.
That
I've dated
was
so many of those
I
guys.
feel like it inspired a lot of
Holy shit, that had me dying.
Yeah.
And he didn't even. There was so much food. Like, he didn't even pick it all
Everywhere.
up.
No,
I was just
never
like,
mind.
God damn it! Like when he just smacked it, I'm like, what? You entitled fucking cuck. No, I think for me the most iconic is Christopher Maloney, like in the window, like the food.
The
guy.
war veteran.
Yeah, mud on my ass. I was in Vietnam. I think that's what I remember the most.
And I think it's also like you can't give it full credit for this, but the tropes that it makes fun of are very recognizable summer camp tropes, like the kid with the radio who's like, "Hey campers, it's the last day of camp, so if you haven't found anybody," and then they just cut to later, none of his equipment is plugged in. You just see all the.
He's also the kid
alone.
that doesn't shower.
The kid that doesn't shower.
The one kid.
Yeah. But I think like the meta comedy stuff, like the gags of like throw something not made of pottery off screen and it cracks like a pottery.
Yeah.
Like it's like that kind of way of humor. That was my first intro into it. I feel like a lot of shows since, including the Netflix shows that they brought back, have aped that style of like, this is intentionally bad. They weren't the first movie to do that, but in that way, I feel like you see a lot of that. Plus, all those people have gone on to become pop cultural.
I think that's the most pop cultural influences.
But that's not really the movie itself. That's more the people in it. I do think what's the difference between the two for me is for Wet Hot, it's a movie about pop culture, kind of. So it's talking about pop culture, but I don't think it's like influence on pop culture was as heavy as Addams Family Values.
Oh no,
no way,
no one saw this movie, which we'll get to in stats. But let's talk about
how well do these movies hold up. One is from 1993.
Which one is that?
That's Addams Family Values, and then Wet Hot is from 2001, pretending to be 1981.
Yes.
I think they both hold up fine. I know we usually go. I don't think there's anything that you.
I was kind of.
This means like, is anything here that you'd be like, well, you wouldn't do that today, or it can mean like
the
this
film
humor doesn't.
Style,
Kevin Spacey was in this movie. There could be any number of things that don't hold up about a movie, but like
I thought they both really held up.
I know.
Yeah, I thought they did too.
I
They
didn't
hold up
really
well.
remember Wet Hot American like fully, and I was like, oh, I wonder if there could be something touchy in here, but there really wasn't. The only thing that was weird was the Molly Shannon thing.
Well, the Molly Shannon thing is inferred. She never does anything with it.
Well, they get married at the end.
You wouldn't.
They get married at the end.
I'm saying no. That kid was never put in a situation, I would hope, where he's made to feel uncomfortable. However, there's that kid who like, just like it's lunchtime. That kind of chubby kid who they're not actually making out, but like on screen they're miming making out. The girl who gets with everybody that Ken Marino's trying to race home to get with.
She's like
and he comes home and she's like making out with a 12-year-old.
The counselor.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that you wouldn't do today, but you should. I really do think that. I'm like, you people are cowards.
Well, yeah, because I feel like they're not actually.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
All right,
But
Ellory
honestly,
says it's fine. We're
People
not
forget
saying
it's
it's fine.
pretend.
But also, because at
They
first,
do.
But he caught real feelings.
Well, he was 12.
at first I thought they were much older, then it's like, oh, they're like 16, 17. I was like, oh yeah, this isn't.
That's the other thing. Watching this when I was more the age of the campers and seeing them and being like, I guess that's what it's 90. I knew that it was a joke that they weren't quite that young. They make reference to it, but now seeing them and being like, this guy's 30 playing, but that just adds to the humor. That's just another layer of stuff I wasn't getting.
Oh, I guess I never thought about how old the counselors were supposed to be.
Yeah, they make a thing where they're like,
supposed to be
in
like
10
19.
years, we're all going to be in our late 20s.
Yeah.
And they're all
yeah.
like standing
Oh, that
around.
was another funny bit I loved. He's like, I got something playing.
Oh yeah,
I got something
but
at
I
11.
think at that
Michael
point in
Ian
our life,
Black.
we can all plan to be there. At the time we say we're going to be there.
Yeah,
Did you watch after the credits? I didn't. I think I'd only seen this one. The credits end, and then they show up, and like one of them, I forget who, it opens the door 10 years. It says 10 years later, and it opens up, and then he's like, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry. I thought we all agreed to get here at 9:30." And then Amy Poehler's sitting there with the rest of the cast, and she goes, "No, we said 9, so we'd get here by 9:30." And then it just cuts. Like that's it's like
funny.
5 seconds of
I'm
them
gonna go back and
paying
check that
off
out.
joke. All right, so these both hold up well. That'll bring
Addams
us to
Family. Addams Family.
Oh, yeah,
still
we
great writing. Still looked good.
Wednesdays
It does look
more popular
so
now
good.
than ever. It does look good. Sometimes I notice that the
Is it
makeup
shot on film or was it digital?
must have been.
I think it had to.
93.
I think it was
Probably
filmed.
would have had to be, right?
Damn, this HD stuff, it's not doing it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the green screen and the HD. It's kind of
Shit doesn't feel like that anymore.
Kind of sucks.
I was gonna say the only time I noticed stuff, and this is like it wouldn't have held up then either, but maybe it's like HD now, you see it more or something. But like they powdered that baby, they powdered Wednesday's face and stuff, and you could see the baby sometimes because they're holding him up, and he's got
Had the line.
you could see the lines under his shit.
But
You know,
I loved that.
But the little Gomez mustache, you're not supposed to believe it's real.
When the
So,
baby,
yeah.
like when Fester leaves and the baby comes like whitewashed, like he's like
blonde,
hair.
blonde
It
is
was
evil
cute.
in these movies.
For apparently,
No, definitely. It's the Addams Family is the inverse of the like American nuclear family, which is why the parents love each other. No, really, genuinely, because like in a traditional, your parents are bickering or whatever. So it's like a send up of like the nuclear, who's Norman Rockwell style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The American dream, white picket
when they're
fence.
telling him like, your son
honey, I got a
grow up to be
promotion.
president.
Exactly. He doesn't have a job. He's watching Maury.
They're saying his son's going to grow up to be like successful, and then Raul Julia has like a breakdown, and he's looking through the cobwebs of the rails of the stairs. And he's like, take me instead.
Well, what's funny is they also are apparently just rich too. Like,
yeah, I know. I didn't think about how.
They
anyway.
have. I assumed that it was like war money or like oil or something.
Yeah,
like
old money.
Yeah,
It's some type of old
like
money.
there's like maybe they have a deal with the Saudis. Something is going on.
That's always a funny, tricky thing about the Addams Family. It's like bad means good, but then like how do we have them interact with other people? Anyway, they do a really good job with it in this movie. But our most important criteria point for this season is we like to pick a popular character actor and ask if he was in this film. If he is, bonus points, or she. Is this season it happens to be a he. We were talking about the wonderful Stephen Root. Ellery, do you know who Stephen Root is just by his name?
I do know who
you
Stephen
him.
Root. I do.
Yeah. Some people don't. Some people haven't.
Was he the guy in Dodgeball?
Absolutely, yes.
And in Office Space.
And Office Space.
Stabler.
And he's in Barry now.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
Bill
God.
Dauterive.
Love Barry. I'm such an HBO stan.
Stephen Root could have been in both of these movies. In fact, I think he would have been like.
He'd be great in Addams Family Values.
He'd be great in Addams Family Values.
Yeah.
I feel like he'd be.
He could have played Christopher Maloney's character in
Wet Hot American.
Yeah,
he could play both Christophers.
Or
I
like
think he could have been
David
Christopher.
Pierce
He could
or
have been
something,
Fester.
like-
That would be really,
And he could have
yes.
been. He's also in Boardwalk Empire. He's great in Boardwalk.
Yes.
He's in
Empire.
Boardwalk
Yes,
Empire.
he is.
Interesting.
Yes.
Oh my God. He has this like. He is kind of like a dignified Bill Dauterive. He has this like a.
That was the first time I realized he did drama. I watched Boardwalk Empire.
What's crazy is he's a great dramatic actor.
He is.
Yeah.
He's really good.
He's just all around an amazing actor,
But-
which is why we chose him. And he was
He's
not in either
either
one
of these movies. So once again, we go 0 for Stephen Root.
Oh, for Stephen Root.
I do love.
Ellery, do not factor that into your final count.
Okay.
He's not in either movie.
He's best in Office Space.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
that's
That
how most people
character,
know him. If
yeah.
you're supposed
Just
to
burn
give me
that
one
motherfucker
Stephen
down.
Root role, it's gonna be.
Just love it.
And they
It's
move
such
him
a
to the
space.
basement.
Yeah, nah, he got his. He got his stapler.
He
and
did
burned
get
that
his,
bitch
yeah.
down. I will say I did love how Wet Hot American Summer ended. It was like, yeah, I like a real raw, real ending. None of that fucking happy-go-lucky.
Oh yes, yes.
Where she's like, yeah, I'm just a 16-year-old girl and I just want to fuck. Like that's all I care about right now.
Yeah.
Like you're a real sweet guy, but you have a great life. And I
Oh,
was like,
I'm gonna add that to pop culture. I know like gifs people use is maybe the lamest way that we can be tallying this, but there's that shot of when Coop comes back in after he's been trained, and Paul Rudd just gives like a classic like double take that is so intentionally bad and awful. I feel like I've seen that if you're just trying to look like if you type shocked face into your.
There is like some measure of pop culture where they say like something is famous when it's being referenced in other things of its kind. So like The Simpsons being referenced in other TV shows means that The Simpsons is like sort of above the zeitgeist. It sort of permeates the culture in a long way. So I do think GIFs are not a wrong way to
totally
measure
valid.
pop culture influence.
100%. Because my number one, what's your number one go-to GIF?
Oh, I don't use GIFs.
You don't use GIFs?
No, I'm not. Come on. I'm a young, beautiful woman. I don't need to do that.
Goodness. Well, you know what? My number one used gift is the one that I would use right now in this moment.
What is it? What is it?
I'm going to show it to you. It's Weebay from The Wire.
Yeah.
The shocked face.
Oh yeah. Wait, he's also in what is that Dan Perlman show?
Yeah, he's in that
The Dan's
like,
gonna kill me. He's a good
it's on
friend of
Comedy
mine.
Central too.
Fuck.
I literally he's really funny on that show too.
Flatbush Misdemeanors.
Yep, that's what it is.
Showtime.
I gotcha. I'm learning about a lot
I
of these
just
things
got
today.
Showtime too because I wanted to watch everything everywhere. I wanted to cry, so I wanted to watch everything.
Oh,
everywhere.
I did cry in that movie.
Yeah,
Did you see it in
I
theaters?
saw it in theaters. It was so good.
good.
Shout out to Peter Banafez who's in that movie.
Yes. Former guest.
Former guest.
This is gonna do wonders for you.
It was like
You're just
on
gonna blow up.
Showtime, so it was like, oh, you can have Showtime for
You
7
and your
days for
mom
free.
should watch it.
I know. I thought about that. We honestly need to.
My mom would be like, I don't get it.
Yeah, that's probably what would happen as well.
Let's talk about the stats of these movies, Leonard. Wet Hot American Summer was made for, according to, I've seen $5 million, but the Wikipedia pegs it at 1.8. So
No
let's say
way.
5 or under. It feels like $1.8 million.
It does feel like 1.8. Actually, it feels like $500,000.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of shocked that
But
it's that much.
I think that $500 went to the production. $500,000 went to paying the actors,
Right.
Or like the big actors,
Or not paying Paul Rudd.
or not
potentially.
paying Paul Rudd.
They said they paid it. It went somewhere, but so it was made for under $5 million. They tricked the summer camp because it was a real summer camp, and they said like it's a family movie, and they let them use it. And then once those people saw the movie, they were like, "Get the fuck
Did they
out."
use it for free?
No, they probably had to
Oh,
pay something,
I
but maybe
see.
they got a rate. It made $295,000
You're joking.
in box office. This movie made.
Oh my God, you're joking.
If someone tells you they saw this movie in theaters, they're lying to you.
It is so crazy that David Wayne was ever allowed to make another movie after that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he was for a while.
He probably was.
I
He probably was
think-
in movie jail
I
for a
think
while.
I think, I remember he directed Role Models. I'm sure he directed something in between, but that was like probably going off the clout that Paul Rudd had at that time. 'Cause
Definitely,
he went on to blow
definitely.
up in 40-Year-Old Virgin and working with the Apatow of Anchorman and that stuff. But like,
Damn.
yeah, this movie was not successful. It was the opposite of successful. It was a terrible bomb. So,
Yeah, what was that
became
Rotten
such a
Tomato?
but on
cult
Rotten Tomatoes, it
classic.
has 85%. And on IMDb, it is a solid 7.
Whoa, 85% on Rotten Tomato. I think you got that wrong.
Do I? Maybe
Why?
I'm looking at the wrong.
What do you think it
Yeah,
is?
it was like it was bad, but the audience score was good.
Oh, the critic score?
What?
Yeah, what are you trying? I'm looking at it.
Oh, what? I must be-
85% Rotten Tomatoes.
Listen, I watched 4 movies. There was one.
69% audience score, which is probably
Nice.
just for the
Wait,
for the joke.
right here it says 38% for Wet Hot American Summer.
I don't know what you're looking at, but I just showed you the actual website, and it's got a 7 on IMDb. Leonard, what are the Addams family values?
Look at
stats?
that. See,
What the hell?
This man has doctored.
Whoa.
I didn't doctor it, but we are seeing
Look.
2.
I feel like I'm discovering a cheating scandal.
See, like
Maybe they took an average. Tomato meter. That's critics 38, 75%.
Oh shit, you're
audience
right.
Score.
No. I did not do this intentionally, but I'm
You're
looking
reading
at
the wrong
I'm looking
one?
at the show. I'm looking at the show.
You're looking at the show. Ew, the show
show
had
has
an
an
83%, but the movie only had a 38.
Okay, you know
People
what?
do not know it's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna wear that 38% as a badge of honor. I think that's so obviously not the case. This is a
Yeah,
classic.
yeah, yeah.
Like everyone
is a-
else was wrong.
that's why I was like,
Yes.
wait, hold on. I did not
okay.
see that.
That's also like,
I was called out. You were correct.
isn't that
I
a
acknowledge
critic
it.
score?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Critic-
they didn't get it. You know,
I
it's
mean,
2000.
Critics want real movies. This is a fun movie.
When did this come out? Like, what day did this come out?
January 2001. That's why I think it like
Oh, okay.
premiered.
I was like, did this come out
September
after?
10th,
Yeah, I know. Like, when did this
2001.
come out?
That would be so funny.
they
This is
wish
not the
they
movie
wish
I
they
wanted.
were a 9/11 movie.
Yeah.
They had that.
Yeah, they
it was
do.
at Sundance. It came out wide in July, so it was a summer movie.
Okay.
Oh, it's so funny
It
to think
premiered
about
at
it
Sundance.
premiering
I
at
can't
Sundance
imagine what anyone
next
thought
to
they
like
were seeing.
real like
Art house
prestige.
fare?
Yeah.
Yeah. Leonard, what are the stats for?
So
Addams
Addams Family value 93. Budget $47 million. That's
Whoa!
why it looks so
In
good.
1991,
They couldn't
or
even-
is that adjusted
93.
for today? In 1993,
I think I don't know if that's when
No,
she-
that's probably the money from the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I
that's
think-
fucking.
They couldn't
so
even get
expensive.
Well, I think
Full
because the
body
first
face
one
paint
was
for that
such a
baby.
big hit.
Yeah.
You know, I think they're
Yeah.
like, fuck it, let's go all out. And I'm sure the cast probably wanted more money. In the box office, it made $111 million. So success.
it?
Okay, so they made.
I think it was
their
also
money back and then
nominated
some.
for a Golden Globe, which was like
Was it?
like probably best comedy feature, or maybe I don't know. I saw that when I rented it on Amazon. It said like Golden Globe nominee, as if anyone's going to watch this movie for that reason. But
it's a 6.8 on IMDb, and it is 75% on the tomato meter, and the audience score is 63%, which is kind of shocking.
Interesting.
People didn't like the baby.
I think maybe that's true.
Yeah, is Pubert canon? Is Pubert in any other Addams Family thing, or they just make this kid up?
I don't know if he's. I don't think he's canon.
No, he's not canon. I think he's just the
They
one.
just invented him for this.
Yeah.
Also, shouts to Carol Kane, who plays like Morticia's mom, who I didn't even realize that was her, the old hag.
Oh,
witch
yeah?
Yeah, she's on like Kimmy Schmidt and other stuff. She's great. Okay, so we got through stats. Now comes time to make our final arguments. Then, Ellery, we're going to ask you to choose between these two movies. Would you like to go first or second, Leonard? I think I won last time. I'll go first.
Yeah, I went first.
I'll keep it brief because I feel like we know Ellery likes this movie. Whether she likes it more or not is out of my hands, I guess. I think this movie, you deftly countered some of the things that I would brought up. The fact that like about half of this movie your movie, Addams Family, doesn't take place at a summer camp. I feel like Wet Hot is it does everything that a summer camp movie you think of, and whether it's doing them ironically or like sincerely, I feel like it has all those moments. So I'd be hard pressed to think of something that you'd want from a summer camp movie that this wouldn't provide. I guess if you're not into the meta humor of it all, I could see that being. Sometimes I prefer things that are more sincere, and I did really love Addams Family Values. I'm not going to come for it. I think that the summer camp scenes are the best parts of the movie, but I feel like if you're making a list of summer camp movies, that's why this is at the top of the list. So I'm just going to go with the inevitability of a movie like this and hope that argument is enough. But Leonard, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, your movie takes place at a summer camp the entire time, which is a big positive.
Except for that scene they go into town.
Except for the scene where they go to town, but like, it's an adult movie with adult jokes and tropes. So I don't know if it really has the true. I mean, there is a lot of summer camp aspects to it. I don't know if it has the true feel. I think Addams Family Values is better because this is a movie you could watch at a summer camp. An entire family could watch together and enjoy. Everyone, the masses, can understand and enjoy this movie. And the whole thought process of let me see what this family is like it's like. Summer camp is for everybody. It's for the parents. It's for the kids. So it's like, all right, how is this family when the daughter and son are away? And it's all around a great movie. Addams Family Value, great movie. Love it. Exciting. But the best part of the movie is the summer camp scenes. Wednesday, it's iconic. Honestly, I felt just like Ellery. I feel like that summer camp scene just like changed the part. Like it made me just be like, nah, fuck the system. Fuck everything that's going on. And I loved history. Like I wanted to learn more. And that's why I think it's the best summer camp movie. I think it's just an overall feel good movie. You can watch it during the summer and have an ease. I feel like you have to be a specific type of person to watch Wet Hot American Summer and truly enjoy it. I think anybody who went to a summer camp could probably enjoy, unless it was Bible camp, because they might not be cool. Well, they wouldn't be cool with either one of these. But that's why I think Addams Family Values is the better summer camp movie.
We didn't even mention that the cabin where they like made like Clockwork Orange style brainwashing, where they just made them
I forgot about that.
So they'd have to.
Jesus Christ!
All right. Or that H. John Benjamin plays the can of mixed vegetables.
I forgot that
the voice of Bob's Burgers. Yeah,
An Archer.
Do you think of him as Bob or as Archer?
I think of him as Bob.
I think of him as a can of vegetables.
I never really got you think of him as a can of
No,
vegetables.
I was never a huge Archer person. I love Bob's Burgers.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ellery, we've talked as much as we can about these movies. You can take as much or as little time as you want. Tell us which of these movies is your pick for the best summer camp movie.
Well, I think like I said at the beginning, I do really like both of these movies, but Leonard made a very interesting point about broad appeal and how the thing that I loved about Wet Hot American Summer was it was so insular, it was so inside, and before I was in the community, I didn't understand it. Then after I joined, it felt like I had been anointed with some knowledge that allowed me to be included in those jokes and conversations. But as far as like broad appeal, Addams Family Values sort of has an outsized impact on the culture. And so I think I need to choose that movie.
Let's go.
Values coming from behind.
I really did come. I don't know if I came from behind, but
I do think
they feel like evenly matched. You said you liked both of these movies a lot.
Evenly matched.
Yeah.
But the things that like sort of even it out. Even though it takes place at a summer camp, it's not about the kids. And even though it doesn't take place at a summer camp all the time, it is about the kids.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like they're really.
It was a pretty good match.
So good. Great
I thought
choices.
the camp counselors in us. When you said you were a camp counselor, I was like, all right, that's going to help. Yeah. This has been a ton of fun. It was nice sharing.
Ellory, where can the people find you?
Oh, you can find me at Ellory Smith on Twitter and at Ellory_Smith on Instagram.
Perfect.
It's hard when you have the last name Smith to try to get the same name.
Yeah, you guys.
Dude, it's probably
easier when your first name is Ellory.
Yeah,
yeah.
But
you know what?
There's a lot of
Leonard Smiths.
They're old white men or like 45-year-old black men.
Yeah, I believe it.
There's just a Leonard Smith Jr. on Instagram. And he hasn't used his Instagram since like 2016.
That is so fucking annoying.
And it makes me so mad.
That's so annoying.
Yeah, there's a singles only. And it has been used since 2013.
You should be able to petition to
I
get
know.
it back.
I like reported them like,
There's a girl named Ellory Smith on Instagram, and she gets tagged in my shit all the time. And I know that she hates it. She's like just a regular like college girl, and she's like, "Who the fuck is this?"
I haven't written on this show.
Yeah,
before.
literally.
I'm pretty sure I'm the only Quinn boys in the world. I don't have to ever like worry
Quinn
about
boys?
Quinn boys.
Boyes.
Yeah, there is no. I never have to like camp out on.
Yeah, you're
someone says about a new social media app. I'm like, I got to get my name on there. If it doesn't matter, it'll be waiting.
Your
for
email's
me.
just your name.
It's just my name. Yeah.
So you guys can all send him an email.
Yeah. Well, it's not my shit.
It's at Hotmail. This has been Quinn Boys at Hotmail.
This has been hot.
Yahoo.
This has been wet. We've learned a lot of family values. Thank you, Ellory, for joining us.
Oh my gosh, this was so
great.
fun.
Yeah, I feel way better at the end of this.
Of course
episode.
you do.
I love
You're
it.
getting a little salty. You're starting to rack up the losses. We'll see you at the cinema. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay then. Settled. 9:30 it is. All agreed? Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Great. Because I have something at 11.